What movie is so disturbing, you would never watch it again? I can't remember what it's called, but it was based off the true story where the girl was hitchhiking and got kidnapped and lived in a box for 7 years. Wasn't it called The Girl in the Box or something along those lines? Dead girl. Some guys find a dead girl, she is a zombie, and proceed to continuously have sex with her body. This progresses until one of the guys begins cutting holes into her body to have sex with, as these holes are warmer and cozier, and then he gets infected when she bites him. Antichrist is probably the only movie I've ever turned off in discomfort. I have a strong stomach! Apparently genital mutilation close-ups are my limit. A Serbian film. Old one, but it's seared in my memory. The cook, the thief, his wife, and her lover. I actually paid to see it in the theater. I don't know what I was thinking. Tusk genuinely f***ed with me, especially the pool scenes. Dear Zachary, a letter to a son about his father f***ed me up. I'd like to say Martyrs, 2008, but chances are I'll rewatch it sometime. Then again, been meaning to rewatch Watership Down, 1978, and have not managed to bring myself to it, so. The White Christmas episode of Black Mirror. It's not a movie, but it has more plot than most movies. It's not even about gratuitous gore, it's mostly psychological and hit paranoias I didn't know I had. Also, you can watch it without seeing any other part of the series. Really? No one said it? Human Centipede. Only watched the first one, never going to watch the other two. Ratatouille. God, I don't even want to explain. Bone Tomahawk. It was a really great movie until it was awful to watch. It is very slow moving, but the dialogue is great. However, the ending is very hard to watch. We need to talk about Kevin and Antichrist. Apocalypse Now. I know a lot of people love it, but the scene where the family is hiding something and so the soldiers kill them all and the something turns out to be a puppy. I just wanted existence to be done after that. There is an emphasis on disturbing. I am going with Hereditary, The Thing 1982, and the original creepypasta on Ted the Caver. With an update, I was exaggerating on The Thing. I'd gladly watch that movie again. I mainly wanted to point out the detail on how real the Thing looks in the movie, have left this detail out. Leaving Las Vegas. Nicolas Cage lives in a shitty hotel and actively, purposely drinks himself to death. The anime Perfect Blue. I got extremely disturbed watching it and just had to stop. Haven't watched the film all the way through and don't ever want to. Honestly, Hereditary and Midsommar. They portrayed mental illness so fucking graphically and perfectly that it caused me to dissociate and cry for hours after watching. If you have mental health issues, watch those at your own risk. Clockwork Orange. I know it maybe isn't as depraved as some things out there, but I've never felt the same thing from watching anything else. For me, it was Schindler's List. It's a vastly important movie to watch, as I think it really helps people grasp the severity of the Holocaust. But that movie deeply disturbed me. Only thing that was worse for me was when I went to the Holocaust Museum/Memorial in D.C. I cried so hard I puked. Come and See. It is a World War II movie that focuses on a young boy who joins the Soviets to fight the Germans. And the scenes in that movie are so horrific. There is one scene that involves a barn being burned that my mind still flashes to and makes me sick to my stomach. The Pianist. Literally every single thing about this movie is unbelievably depressing. The color scheme, the sound, the music, the facial expression, everything. It is a great movie, and had it not very depressing, I'd watch it again. Say 7N. My wife was pregnant at the time and it just got to me. Didn't even finish it. The Girl Next Door, 2007. This movie turned me into an emotional zombie for days after. It's amazing, but don't watch it. Hereditary. For me, it's the wailing of the mother after the funeral, and the fight/tension between the mother and the son get too real for me. The scare/actual f***ed up stuff, I'm unfazed. Lol. The piano wire was pretty nuts, but nothing I couldn't handle. Close second would be Midsommar for the opening scene alone. Dancer in the Dark, emotionally just brutal. Crushed me, never want to see again. Event Horizon was deeply disturbing. Wolf Creek marked the beginning of gore porn, utterly without hope of survival films and of more fun horror films like Scream, and I never ever want to watch shit that fucking bleak again. Thank Baby Bell Tucker and Dale came along to save the day. Blue Valentine. Anything similar to the Saw movies. It's murder porn. It's disgusting. I don't get why people like it. Do documentaries count? If so, The Cove is beyond f***ed. It's the stupidest film ever, but Megan is missing. Horrible acting, terrible cinematography, bad dialogue, cheesy as FK. But the last 22 minutes of that film had me seriously f***ed up that I have never watched it since. If you choose to watch it, I would look it up first and read, because the contents of the film can be very triggering to people who've experienced similar trauma. Any movie with rape scenes in it. You'll never understand how people can sit there and watch it for entertainment other than in porn, because it's pretty normal to watch insanely freaky/taboo stuff while you're horny. Frozen. And no, not the Disney movie. I'll let it go any day of the week. Nah, I'm talking Frozen, about the people who get stuck on the ski lift. Human error, not a psycho killer, or deadly sex cult. Just a thing some dumb kid could accidentally do somehow. It's just too real. I think I got 5 minutes into Don't FK with Cats and had to turn it off. His YouTube videos did it for me. I knew I could never watch the whole thing. I Spit on Your Grave. The first one especially got me. I think there are 3, just horrible rape scenes, and I was not expecting it. One of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre ones, where the family is eating the people. Is that all of them? I didn't like it. Also, The Hills Have Eyes and the sequels. Haven't seen Men Behind the Sun mentioned. That one's pretty disturbing. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Black Swan. I know it's not a scary movie or gory at all, but as a kid who was in a pre-professional ballet program, the whole thing just f***ed me up so much that I quit ballet like a month later because I just couldn't do it. Cuties on Netflix. Like who the FK directs these movies? A Netflix documentary called The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. It shows a lot of child abuse. It was so disturbing I had to watch it in segments and fast forward through parts. Old Boy. Just thinking about it makes me want to throw up, mostly just because of how f***ed up the whole plan was from the start. Not a full-length film, but the strange thing about the Johnsons really messed me up from the beginning to end in those 30 minutes. Banaz. A Love Story. It is a documentary about a girl who was brutally murdered by her family for eloping, in what is commonly referred to as an honor killing. It's a devastating film. There is a scene where the lead investigator reads a transcript the police acquired via phone tapping. The transcript is of one of the murders bragging to his cousins about the gruesome details of the murder, and it's extremely difficult just to hear the words said out loud. Honestly, it makes me want to retch just thinking about it, so be warned if you haven't already seen it. A French horror movie called Inside, a L'Intérieur. After a car accident kills her unborn child, a woman goes after the other driver, a pregnant woman. It is f***ed. Unpopular opinion, but Full Metal Jacket. Gone Girl. It was especially hard for me because I dated an abusive girl who was just like that. Everything she did and said reminded me of my ex so much, and I definitely watched it way too soon after we broke up. I'm convinced she would have killed me had I stayed with her. Great movie though, just hard to watch. Hello, The Green Inferno. Not only is it pretty much murder porn, but the female genital mutilation and virginity test really just doesn't sit right and makes me horrifically uncomfortable. City of God left me with such hopelessness and sadness. I couldn't sleep well for a week after watching it. The Lobster. It's disturbing not in horror and blood, but just how it plays out is just outright disturbing. 8 Below. Saw it in theaters. It's a kid's movie, but all I remember is watching each of the dogs' horrific deaths. One got dragged under by an orca. FK that movie, and one dog barely making it out alive just after watching the second to last dog die. Hated it. I was little. Not a movie, but series. The last season of Skins, or maybe last 2, was just way too much for me on so many levels. Annihilation. There's just something about the overall tone of that movie that terrified me so much. The bear scene and the scene where one of the girls turn into a tree is the one that takes the cake for me. M. Night Shyamalan butchering The Last Airbender. Midsummer. Traumatized me. The suicide scene triggered me so bad I started crying. When I watched the movie, it was a few months after I attempted, but I'm happy now. Martyrs. Even seeing screen caps from the final scene makes me feel ill. Lake Mungo. It's on YouTube for free, I think. Anyway, it's about a girl who drowned, and the documentary revolves around the family and her haunting and the last moments of her life. It wasn't super scary, except that one camping scene caused FK that. However, the way it slowly creeps up into your mind through the next day or few days, because you keep thinking about the ending or certain parts. Even in daylight I was chilled and found myself really creeped out. Raw. I almost lost my lunch during the part where she's pulling her own hair out of her throat. Hair is a huge trigger for me, and I had to turn it off, and it still haunts me even during waking hours. Big barfskis. Why the FK did I have to read this thread at 3 a.m.? WTF is wrong with me? The Silence of the Lambs. See, have no problem with brutal movies, but I can't watch The Silence of the Lambs without throwing up. The scene where Hannibal Lecter cooks the brain of that guy, while the guy is still alive and answering, then giving the guy his own brain to eat. Sug FH. Dogtooth. I had weird f***ed up dreams after I watched it. It was very uncomfortable to watch. Born on the 4th of July, fantastic movie, but I'll never watch it again. Tom Cruise should won the Oscar that year. He was robbed. The Fly. When a guy trying to invite teleportation accidentally gets into the teleport vault and instead for teleporting, he fuses with a fly that was in there, and it's just well. Hard Candy, with Elliot Page and Patrick Wilson. I thought it was a good movie, but it made me so uncomfortable I don't know if I can watch it again. The Butterfly Effect. That dog scene, I can't. Requiem for a Dream. Every second of it. I've seen it once, a decade ago, and still every now and then something brings me back to it vividly. Even the beep boop at stoplights reminds me of the song. Drive. It's a great movie, but I can't watch it again. Graphic violence really bothers me, especially injuries to the head. There is a scene where Ryan Gosling crushes someone's head. I had nightmares about it for days. I'm sure everyone says this here. Bambi. None really. The Poughkeepsie Tapes was probably the most genuinely disturbing movie I've ever seen, and I'd watch it again no problem. A Serbian film was just cheap shock value and wasn't substantial enough to be considered disturbing to me. I won't watch it again cause it sucked.